Which areas around Raleigh appreciated the most in 2024? Today we're going to be digging into that, so stay tuned.
All right, so these numbers are just based on resale. We did not include new construction in this, and we'll get to the reasons of why that is a little bit later in the video, but it is all resale and all types of resale, single family, condos, townhomes, all of that is included in this. But kicking it off with the area that saw the most appreciation, Holly Springs at 12.3% year over year, which is just unbelievable numbers.
Yes.
So I think the biggest reason Holly Springs saw this jump is close to Cary, it's close to Apex, both very popular areas in our region, but it is much more, I shouldn't say much more, it's more affordable than those regions.
Yeah, for sure. It does have kind of a similar flair to the Cary and Apex suburbs, so this kind of gives people an option that feels like that maybe they were hoping for, to move into Cary or Apex with a smaller price tag. And there is really everything you need is right there in Holly Springs. It's it's a very growing area and industry, like Fujifilm is going to have a big thing there. They're adding a lot more almost like biosciences types of buildings. So there's a lot more employment opportunities coming to Holly Springs. And alongside of that, just a lot more commercial development. You've got just a lot of stuff that you might think, oh, if I live there, I'm gonna have to drive all the way to Raleigh, and you really don't. They have their own Target, their own Walmart, a big restaurant availability kind of around the area, and they have a little downtown, which is cute. They kind of made it more recently, so it's not a historic downtown, but they tried to make it kind of appear the way a historic downtown
There's
does.
plans for it to be developed even more. They've got plans to really pour into that downtown region to make it something really attractive.
Yeah, and adding a park into the downtown part, which I think will be really cool. So just all in all, it is a really pleasant place to live. The neighborhood options there are really cool. You've got 12 Oaks, that's probably one of our favorites. You've got Sunset Ridge, just some really nice areas there that have incredible amenities for the people that live in those neighborhoods. So it really feels like resort life, I think, when you're living in Holly Springs. And there's also a lot of good access to parks with a lot of athletic fields, a whole lot of athletic fields for some reason. And that's kind of a growing thing too, growing in their greenway trail access and growing in the parks, but there is still plenty currently already there.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, coming in next on the list is Cary. So Cary has grown over 8% in 2024 with home pricing. Again, these are existing home sales, not new construction
8.7
pulled in. Yeah, so almost 9%, which is crazy. The average nationally that we're looking at is right around 5%. So a lot of these areas are doing really well in appreciation compared to the rest of the country. Not that 5 is a bad thing, that's still great, but these areas are really booming, and I'm not surprised to see Cary on the list. It's just the number one place that when people are relocating, they're they at least start their search in Cary. It's just kind of how I said, Holly Springs is a pleasant place to be. Cary's very similar. It's like a suburban heaven. If you were looking for a quiet, safe, peaceful place that just feels kind of I don't know, neighborly and stuff, you really can't beat Cary.
Yeah, but it's crazy though that Cary is in second place and it is 4% less than what Holly Springs is. That's wild. I mean that's how fast paced the price growth was in Holly Springs this year for resale. It's just mind blowing.
Yeah.
But with Cary, it's for a lot of different reasons. Some of that's proximity. So Cary's in the perfect place if you need good access to Durham or you need good access to Raleigh. It's got great highway access to get you to the Research Triangle Park or the RDU Airport. It's got everything you need when it comes to shopping, whether that's everyday needs with grocery stores or places like Walmart or Target, or shopping centers like Waverly or the Fenton that have a different feel to them, a more unique shopping setting. So it has great existing neighborhoods, places like Amberley or Lochmere, or you can just go on and on, Preston, with the list of just really nice existing neighborhoods for resale. And also in terms of greenway access, Cary excels, whether it's parks or the 70 miles of greenway trails. Cary just really excels at practically every category. So it's really no surprise that it is number 2 on the list. All right, coming in at number 3 on the list is Raleigh, appreciating at 8.6%, so just a little bit lower than Cary. And Raleigh is obviously the largest city in our region, and I thought about splitting it up because Raleigh's a huge area. So is it North Raleigh? Is it South Raleigh that's driving this? I didn't do it, so we're just going to stick with Raleigh in general. What makes Raleigh an appealing place, and why is it growing at 8.6%?
Yeah, I mean, in general, this is obviously the flagship town around the Triangle area is Raleigh. You know, you can't beat the convenience of just being right inside of Raleigh, right? You have everything at your fingertips.
Because when we talk about like a Cary, it's like its benefit is proximity to Raleigh, but you could just live in Raleigh.
Yeah, you could just live in Raleigh, right? And you know, if you want that bigger city feel, like you don't want to feel, I mean, even Raleigh is going to feel like a suburban type of sprawl in life. But if you are looking for something that feels more urban, I mean, there are options there, and you know, you're just right there at the heart of everything. And if you want something that feels like a little more on the historic side, obviously Raleigh is going to give you all of that right there. Like if you want that like more downtown living, or you know, a house that just has a lot of character, that's a lot older and more established, you're not going to get more established than just being right in Raleigh. Yeah,
absolutely. And I mean, sometimes when we work with folks who want a place with a lot of character, Raleigh is a good place to start with that, because it has some of those older homes that have a lot of character. It's not that you know, track home feel that you get in some of the suburbs, but Raleigh has everything you need. It's obviously got the highway access. It's obviously got, you know, airport access. It's obviously got all the shopping you need, and a lot of like smaller shopping places like a Trader Joe's. Like you don't get a Trader Joe's in a lot of the towns around our area, but you find them.
There is one in Cary.
There is. Well, Cary's somewhat of an exception in a lot of these, but like you don't get that in some of these other towns, and so places like Raleigh afford that kind of shopping experience. Yeah. So it's really, again, it's no surprise that Raleigh comes in at number 3 on the list.
Definitely.
By the way, we are real estate agents in the area, so if you are looking to buy or sell, we'd love to be your real estate resource of choice. You can find our contact info below. Make sure to like the video, subscribe, and drop us a comment below.
All right, number 4 on the list was a bit of a surprise, and one that you might not be expecting to have on this list, and it is Pittsboro. So Pittsboro, even though it's surprising, it's almost like, oh yeah, that totally kind of also makes sense because the area is growing so much. But what doesn't quite make sense is we excluded new construction from these numbers. So, you know, we have huge new neighborhoods coming in to the Pittsboro area, like Chatham Park. There's going to be so many houses in Chatham Park. So, you know, if we were just talking about that, it wouldn't be surprising. Yeah, 20,000. It's crazy. But, you know, we're just talking about the resale market. So obviously things like Chatham Park have brought in a lot more commercial space, and I think just are kind of putting Pittsboro more on the map, where people are like, I actually wouldn't mind living in Pittsboro. And, you know, that's my best guess to why the resale side of it is also kind of really picking up. You do have pretty easy access into Apex or Chapel Hill when you're in Pittsboro. So though you might not have heard of it, it's not as in the middle of nowhere as you might think it is, and it has such a cute little downtown. You've got Farrington Village, which is such a quaint little area there.
One of the neighborhoods that's worth mentioning when it comes to resale.
Yeah, for sure. Farrington Village is really cool. You know, you just have a lot kind of going on in that area, and it does still kind of have a more rural feel to it, you know, though there are a lot of new like tract home neighborhoods coming to the area. That's not the majority of what is there. So if you want to be somewhere that feels more like, I don't know, it has like more of like a farm kind of feel, but still have access. Yeah, for now. Pittsboro definitely can give you that.
Yeah. So it grew at 7.5% year over year. So that puts it just right below where Raleigh was. But it is unique because a lot of these areas that we've talked about today, really all these areas with the exception of Pittsboro, have a convenience factor to them. Pittsboro is the exception to that. It's growing in price without the convenience factor, which is a really big deal, because when you look at Pittsboro on the map, like it's really isolated by Jordan Lake, and so I think it's pretty cool that it's growing in price that quickly, like the resale, not just the new construction that's coming. But to Cindy's points, there's a lot of reasons why. All right, so coming in number 5 on the list, and I'm going to give you a surprise one that I was kind of surprised it didn't make the list. But speaking of number 5 on the list is Apex, coming in at 6.6%.
Yeah, so Apex is, like we had mentioned when we were talking about Holly Springs and Cary, it's kind of on that same side of the triangle, and it is just an awesome little suburb area. You have so much newness out there, even though we're excluding new construction from this. Like when you're driving around Apex, it's definitely going to feel like, oh, these shopping centers are all like really new, and a lot of these neighborhoods are like less than 10 years old. That's going to be the majority of what you kind of see on the market. Is it's not like you're going to find a bunch of 50-year-old homes in Apex. I'm not saying they don't exist, but like the majority does feel a little newer. So if you're kind of looking for like a larger home or something with more amenities in the neighborhood, Apex is going to be a really great option. And there is a decent amount of shopping in the area too.
There is.
You have a lot of grocery options and other shopping, kind of similar to Holly Springs. You're going to have most of what you want right there in Apex. And they have some of the best parks and playgrounds around the triangle. Pleasant Park is so amazing. I love that park. One that our kids really like is Kelly Road Park. It's on the older side, but it just feels like, I don't know, like it's all like wooden with all these little forts, and it's very colorful, and our kids love that one. There's definitely just a lot to do that's great for people moving into the area with kids in Apex.
Yeah, absolutely. So that is 2024, the areas that saw the most appreciation. I think in general in 2025, we'll see a pretty similar trend. I think really all these areas, they appreciate for good reasons, and that's going to continue in 2025. I think the one that maybe we could see work back onto the list would be Chapel Hill. So Apex was at 6.6%, Chapel Hill was at 6.3%. So it and Apex were very close.
Yeah.
And Chapel Hill, and in general, areas that appreciate in price the way that these towns have, it's because competitive markets. They're people want to get into these areas, and Chapel Hill is one of those areas that has a competitive market. And so I was a little surprised Chapel Hill didn't make the list, but I would not be surprised if they knocked off one of these towns and worked their way onto the list next year. But I think in general, these are really the most competitive areas in our market to get into when it comes to resale.
Yeah.
All right, and I do want to come back to why I did not include new construction on the list. Cindy says no one cares, and they probably don't. Yeah. But and then at the end of the day, like there's a reason why. I think new construction in some towns really skews the numbers. So Wake Forest is a good example. I think they skew the numbers down because we're seeing a lot more affordable new construction come on the line compared to what it used to be. And so it looks like Wake Forest is not appreciating in price at all, and that's just not true. The resale is. Not as quickly as we saw in some of these other areas, but new construction pulls it way below, I think, where it should be, or where it is realistically. In Knightdale, I think you see the opposite effect. I think there's just so little inventory that goes on the market or that sells in a place like Knightdale that all it takes is one neighborhood, which is Knightdale Station, Toll Brothers selling in that neighborhood for new construction to really skew the price appreciation upward. And so I think just focusing on resale removes some of that and just has a more balanced look at the market and where we're seeing price appreciation realistically. So that's why I pulled new construction out. No one may care but me, but Cindy.
No one's listening to this part. They already clicked off.
They've all clicked off. Yeah, the little graph that shows when they clicked off.
Why is Zach talking about this?
But anyway, I'm Zach. This is my beautiful wife, Cindy. We are a couple of real estate agents in the area. So if you are looking to buy or sell, we'd love to be your real estate resource of choice. You can find our contact info below. And you can also find us on Instagram.
Yeah, we'd love to have you follow along. You can follow along with us at the Honeycutt Realtors. We would love to see you over there, and feel free to send us a direct message there, or you can reach out with the information below.
Yep, and RDU Buzz.
Yeah, and we also have a secondary account, RDU Buzz, on Instagram. So if you are interested in like restaurants and parks and things going on in the area, definitely check that out too.
Yep, and we'll see y'all next time.